Hello, my name is Dr. Abbas Bar-Zegar. I'm a professor of Islamic Studies at Georgia State University in the Department of Religion. I think that the First Amendment and the subject of freedom of speech and religion and religious expression is one of those areas of such kind of cultural significance that people often don't know how to manage the conversation in a coherent or sober way. Many people think that if one is entitled to free speech rights, that allows them to say and do whatever they want. But Supreme Court cases historically have shown that there are limits on freedom of speech, and some of those limits are usually defined around what we might call incitement speech. So it is not okay to say something in a provocative fashion that the provocateur knows will engender a violent or sort of, outrageous response by the person who is being told this thing. So, for example, that's what we call like fighting words law. Incitement speech or fighting words have a clear history in case law in the United States, and I think that it's very important that we understand religious ideas to fall within that space. The United States, in comparison to other European countries, is radically broad on this issue. In Western European countries, there is a much more aggressive policy on the part of the state to regulate what is okay conversations, what is okay, what are okay boundaries on controversial conversations. The United States doesn't play as much of a role in that. I think that in Europe, the subject of Islam and specifically anti-blasphemy laws, or kind of anti-Muhammad cartoons and things like this, Quranic defamation, are actually a sign of a much larger problem of immigration and centuries-old anxiety of European identity vis-a-vis Muslim identity, and that's why it gains so much resonance there. But when it comes to other images of religious significance, European societies have said, and American societies in some cases have said, no, we're not going to allow this, or we're not going to allow that. So these are sensitive issues that really require a kind of mature and sober conversation, the kind of which unfortunately is very difficult to have in politically tense environments.
Okay. Of course, the First Amendment is about the exercise of free religion, and it's about basically being able to say what you want, basically. When it comes to radical religion, I feel like the First Amendment kind of does not apply, simply because when it becomes radical, the radical religious group is more into like imposing threats versus actually kind of like stating the purpose of why they're there. Because a radical group, say for example like a radical Muslim group or radical Christian group, will say what they're going to do, usually in a very violent manner, in order to get their demands met, or what they're trying to like basically impose on others. So, yeah. I hate to say this because I'm biased, because I am Muslim, but yeah, I'm Muslim. But yeah, I would say radical Christians probably do get off a little bit more than radical Muslims do. Like for example, here at Georgia State, I wouldn't necessarily classify the people that come to the courtyards as radical Christians, more fanatic Christians. But say for example, if that was a Muslim group saying those type of things, I'm pretty sure everyone would be running for their lives, scared as hell. So yeah, I would say in that regard, yeah, I say Christians probably get off a little more scot-free than Muslims do, for sure.
Well, Danielle, I'll tell you about my opinion on radical religion and the First Amendment. Alright? Number one, it's okay for like instance, an example, some guy be out in the courtyard yelling at me about religion. Why? Not because I like it, but because him being able to yell that stuff at me allows me to be able to yell whatever I want at him. The right goes both ways, so it's fair. Number two, alright, number two, alright, I like to bring up this whole, you can't say stuff if it's threatening. If you're saying something that comes out of the Bible, you're not saying a threat, you're saying something that comes out of the Bible, or the Quran, or any religious text, right? So, if, for instance, example, let's use the Bible. If in the Bible it says, if you, I don't know, wear your shoes backwards, you're going to hell. Then if someone's out in the courtyard saying, oh, you shoe backwards wearing punks are going to hell, then he's not threatening people like, I'm going to send you to hell. He's saying, hey, this is what's in the Bible. Whatever. However, I will say that this kid right here was actually right about the whole Muslim-Christian thing. If there was some radical Muslims in the courtyard being like, hey, da-da-da-da-da, whatever, whatever, and, you know, maybe they had,
Turban?
Huh?
Turban?
Turbans. I don't know what. Turbans, right? They had turbans, and they were like yelling a bunch of radical stuff. There would probably be a bunch of kids like, yo, we gotta get them out of here. They go report it to the deans and all that stuff, and they'd probably be gone within like, 2 minutes, right? So yeah, he was right about that. However, all of that stuff should be protected by the First Amendment because, like I said, it allows us to say whatever we want.
Is what is your view on radical religion and First Amendment? That's it.
Put over!
I'm a black kid, but if I see a black kid in a hoodie, it's pretty threatening. You know what I'm saying?